Hey everybody, Fab4 here with some more Mechabellum, and on today's gameplay, I got a little bit of a funny game here for you. More as in my opponent being a little funny, because he couldn't really decide on what he wanted to do. And we'll see here, it's pretty quick. It looks like he started off with a supply specialist, getting that extra money, because who doesn't like money? It's just good to have more money. I went ahead and picked up a marksman specialist. Now, beginning this game, my first thought was to sell the marksman specialist on round two, get some money. And some of my favorite strategies right now is to just start doing triple phantom ray flank on one side and then doing it on another side. It's just kind of surprises the enemy. They have to like adjust to it. You kind of just either continue with it or whatever. But instantly, we can see the opponent here. He doesn't unlock a unit, but he decides to just grab an additional two fangs. Now, at first you're probably thinking like, wait a minute, why? Well, you can already kind of think about what pairs up really well with Fangs. You kind of have an idea of what he's going to be going for. Whereas my game plan, I think it ends up changing here pretty quick after the first couple rounds. I also decided to kind of do a split even on aggro, as my opponent went more asym. The right side, though, is splitting up the troops like this made the right side a lot weaker. So he's able to push in. If I had something defending the arc light, I think it'd be a lot better. But I think because these large amount of fangs could really help him out, and it's actually kind of scary because if we don't want these fangs to get levels. As soon as these fangs start ranking up, they actually start getting very scary to deal with. Sadly, I only get a couple crawlers over here to deal with the tower. But there's a chance it's enough, and the steel balls are getting in some little bit of work. And they're just not able to take... Oh, Arclight got the tower right there. But the question is, can he finish off the rest of these? And I don't think he can, especially with that tower debuff. Yeah. So he's starting off strong against me. I get my marksman now. Looking at the round two cards, nothing really exciting. A cheaper mobile beacon's really cool. And then a couple mass-produced items. Unless we're really thinking about pushing that in. Wasp, he's doing fangs, so honestly, both of these are pretty bad. Missile Strike's kind of cool, just because you can kind of blow out some of the units here. Get them gone. So it's either Missile Strike or Mobile Beacon. Also, getting this on a drop 2 is nice, because you can still pick up your own. And then having two Mobile Beacons is really nice, because you can be like, oh, I can send these guys over here, or send these guys over here, and you can start just moving everyone around and doing a lot more like macro play and stuff, you know. Kind of do a little bit of field advantage if you can. Opponent deciding to sell off a sledgehammer, and he now picks up his range on the fangs, which is even more of a sign of what he's going to be running, which is some kind of fang carry. What we're going to see here, I think where he places these gives a really clear sign of where he's going to be putting the future units. I think he's going to be starting to set up the cages. I also grabbed the missile strike in the end and set it up right here in front just to kind of let my units get in. Only issue is we're kind of just doing it right at each other, so it doesn't really matter. For me, I decide, well, if he's going to be doing this, I should start setting up my main game. I also realize, hey, he's got a lot of dudes over here. I can kind of just start setting up flanks to pull off more chaff. And actually, we see him, yeah, he sets up one of his fangs over here, and he sets up a fang flank and a shield. I'll say real quick here, I think this might be kind of a weird play, especially if you're trying to do something like this, setting up your little boxes. You're kind of just taking your front line away by doing this. You're going to have to spend more cash on fangs, which is not much, but the big thing is that you only have a couple unit deployments. So if you can't put down enough stuff in the front, when you end up putting your like fortress or hackers, it's just not going to be enough. And actually, I placed this marksman right up here in the front, and it just takes the tower in a second. It doesn't even get a chance. And because of that, now my troops can kind of head in and just finish them off. And now I have a huge swarm of crawlers over here from the flank and the side coming in. And I even distract him a little bit with his units here. He does take my tower. That's all right. I don't think he's able to engage me quick enough after that. And the crawlers start heading in, and we kind of see them just kind of blowing through. We even take the tower, too. But don't think I have enough damage. This arc light might be able to do enough. And he actually is doing really good work. Almost. This amount of fangs ain't going to help out when even with the rank 3 marksman. So technically, I haven't really gotten a single win on him yet. But then again, I get bear-liked, and it decides to give me a Typhoon. Sabertooth, I mean, great, but there's no large target. Sandworm is good. Still no large target. Same with Melting Point. Like, the Typhoon, though, like, looking at this, it just cleans up everything. So I already know my choice. That's instant Typhoon. I could pick up, you know, I was thinking maybe more getting Arc Lights or something, but this is just a better unit all around, because you can even get your own shield on it, and that's going to help defend units around it. Opponent grabs a Sabertooth. We're going to see a little bit of a... Okay, he sets it up as a flank over here. I go ahead and pick up another Typhoon and kind of set it up over here so that one of them is distracted. And he finally sells off his other Sledgehammer now, too. Which, honestly, he should have just sold Sabertooth instead of the Sledgehammer. And now we're going to see he's doing some very strange deviation. Because this right here is classic Fang Fortress. But for some reason, he decides to get a Vulcan. Like, straight up buy a Vulcan. And unlock it. So that's 600 cash just out the barrel. When he probably could have just sold this and just got, like, 2 fortresses on round 3. So I don't really know exactly what he was thinking. It's kind of like you're going, you want to head home from a long trip. And then like, there's some people who just like, dude, I just really want to get home. But then some person's just like, yeah, but I want to go over here. Yeah, but then I want to go over here. And then you end up taking like 20 different detours. And then you're like coming home like a day late. And we can see here, Marksman just takes a tower again. Vulcan cleared off the crawlers, but like, what else is it doing? Literally nothing. Over here is a little slow, but he is holding off the Sabertooth for a while. Especially, I'm getting these towers so fast now. But it's just, it can't do enough damage. It's just holding it off a little bit longer. Meanwhile, this Vulcan is now just donezo. And now we have to wait for a while as everyone finally meets up. And with that, I'm starting to get the wins now. So instantly I pick up Vulcan because obviously, I mean, look at his front board. It's just chaff everywhere. So just getting this for a free drop is just really nice. He gets a redeployment. There was a couple other. I decide, you know what, this Vulcan's going to be nice for clearing out chaff. My first thought is here, but one of my classic moves, I love to just put it back here. I also grab Replicate now on these brawlers. So when they're taking out these fangs, they just get more and more of them. And my opponent finally picks up his first fortress. We actually see he sells out of the Vulcan that he spent 600 cash on. And he still has this Sabertooth over here that's just kind of like worth a lot of cash as well, and it's just not doing anything. Opponent sets up a missile that will take out the marksman, so that's not super great. But these crawlers, he has a missile as well. But he's doing a lot of wasteful stuff with money, and he finally arrived at his destination. Or at least he's almost there. He's on the home stretch. But we're going to see he takes a little bit of deviation here again. Alright, still no change over here. That's going to be held up by this. Actually, it got taken out a lot faster. This marksman was not able to take the tower, so I think he's going to be able to take this tower on me now. But this Vulcan back here actually proved useful and was able to take this tower and clear off some chaff. And now I'm able to take the other tower. And because of this double tower take, now I'm able to not take as much damage here from this fortress. And he just gets surrounded by crawlers. Like, if we just get up in here, you can see him just surrounded. There's nothing he can do. Now all we got is a Sabertooth with some fangs, but that's not going to be a problem. I mean, look at all these crawlers just coming in. Like, sometimes there's just nothing you can do against the swarm. And the steel balls are able to just get their lock on. We just finish up. And we get points off the Vulcan that we had drop in, too. Okay, on to round 5. We're getting a unit drop. Looking at this, we got a couple of good options. Stormcallers could be kind of nice, setting up in the front. I'm probably thinking about the Mustangs, if anything, right now. Wraith's not really doing anything. It's good chaff clear, but I got the Typhoon, so I don't need to double up on the same unit types to do that. Wasps are all right too, but he has a ton of Fangs. So this, if you have enough Fangs, they'll counter the Wasp. Doesn't really matter. Like, Mustangs are probably the best option here. Getting range on them, then they can start clearing out all these chaff right here. Then your units can focus on the fortresses. He ends up grabbing a Wasp. Plus, you got to think the Mustangs counter, technically, in a way, all of them. Not as much as Stormcallers, unless you want to get anti-missile. But they can do enough damage to the Wraith. It is a rank 3, so that is something to be scary. And if he gets armor enhancement, then, you know, that kind of sucks. But you got to spend the tech on that. And then again, the Mustangs just completely counter the Wasp. He ends up grabbing his Mech Rage now for his Fangs. And again, he's just been... He could have done this maybe either earlier rounds, like maybe like on a lot earlier rounds. But like he took some weird detours, and I think he is kind of doing this to kind of pull the flank, which you can do this with Fang Fortress, kind of set up a little corner and just kind of push it on all sides or in the front. It all depends on what you want to do. Like you can do a full frontal assault, but even then, like at some point it fills up and you start doing flanks with them. But he's also been holding on to the Sabertooth for a long time as well. Whereas the thing is, yeah, he finally sells it because it's worth a decent amount of cash. Now you can finally start picking up your other fortresses and Fangs. For his first tech, though, he doesn't get the barrier. He grabs the Rocket Punch. And I'm assuming to deal with these large units here, like the Typhoons or something. It's kind of a... Yeah, because now he has to start buying a shield. When he could just give him a shield, and it's worth way more. Because this one right here has a shield of 87,000, where this one here has a shield of 43,000. He also decides to do a little bit of a cheeky flank with Wasps now. Do I place my missile? I think I forgot to place the missile. I set it up right here, but he has a shield, so it doesn't really do anything. Marksman gets a lock on the tower, and I think because of that, it's going to slow down his Wasps. We're going to see they're not going to be able to make it to the towers easily now. Of course, now he gets stuck behind here, and he's going to just pretty much do nothing. But the steel balls and just this large amount of crawlers just end up taking out the fortresses. He does get this tower, but the problem is he's not engaging my units anymore, so this debuff isn't really going to matter anymore. Yeah, like they hit a marksman, but once these Mustangs get in range, it's just over. And we get a very large hit on him. Okay, on to round 6 here. Just a lot of mass-produced units. Fortresses could be kind of nice. I could pick up a ton of them, or I guess 2 of them, maybe 3. Same with Phoenix, but Phoenix are kind of weak to the Fangs. Scorpion's not a bad idea. And that probably should be the next pickup so that it can deal with the Fortress. Because I don't really have any heavy hitting. I have the Steel Balls, which are kind of the answer. I just need to clear off the chaff. So if anything, I'm going to be grabbing the Amp Core and placing it on some Mustangs just to get that extra damage out. All right, so I do end up grabbing the Amp Core. I'll see what I place it on here first in a second. My opponent decides to just missile out the front here because I've set up crawlers here to deal with all of his Fangs. But again, it's just another 150 cash just used. Actually, 200 cash used on something that he could just be placing units to deal with. But instead, just spending the money when he could be getting techs or, you know, more Fangs and more fortresses. Another... All right. Oh, geez. He actually sets up even more. So let's do some math here. We got 100, 200, 300 cash spent on missiles when he could just be doing fortress, extra unit drop, 2 more Fangs. You could even do 2 Fangs, try to elite recruit a rank 2 fortress with the... I can't really do the full math. Like, I had to look at his money at the start. But I'm also realizing now that I need to just kind of keep pushing it on the side. Like, I can just start swarming in with crawlers. They take out the fangs. These aren't really able to do enough. The fist might be good chaff clear. The only problem is that I think he needs more fortresses if he wants to do that. I'm sure you guys have seen the rat strategy where he does mass fortress with fists and shield. But the problem is, like, he's only got 3. Or if he started this earlier, he could have had, like, another one here, maybe a flank going. And then we're going to see, even with this full outright just complete missile barrage in the front, he does take out all of the crawlers. But my flank over here is able to push in, take the tower, and then all of my crawlers just come swarming in. And then even with this extra overload, they're attacking faster, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Okay, so this round, nah, it looks like he's able to pull it off, just enough. And now we're thinking, well, this doesn't look good for me. He's starting to kind of pull back around. We get some more fortified arc lights, a Vulcan Descent, getting another one. Another mass-produced Scorpion, and there's also a Lightning Storm. I think the Lightning Storm is going to be my pick here. He also didn't place his Amp Core. And I also didn't pick up an Amp Core. I actually placed it on these crawlers. Now, you're probably thinking, like, wait a minute, why would you do this? Well, I placed it on here to just give them more attack and health. So that when they rush in and take these fangs, they can kind of just produce more faster and then just surround him. And I'm hoping that if I can take out all these fangs with my crawlers, I just surround his fortresses. And we're getting lucky. He hasn't even picked up shield. He got the launcher overload last time. And he's yet to pick up a barrier for him. Not exactly sure why. Wait a minute. Huh. This isn't even expired, but it did some funkiness. That should have been over. Let's go back to round 6 here. You guys are going to see that this seems really strange. I should have technically won that round, because I did. Now this is awkward. Huh, so even in just regular gameplays, the game can just decide to RNG you. Let's let this quick deploy again. And let's see what happens this time. Yeah, so I have no idea what's going on. Because I won this round. And I am very confused as to what happened here. Because that was the last round. Huh. Well, I guess it's a mystery. And I'll even do a quick little double check here for you guys, just to make sure that it was a victory. So yeah, I'll show real quick that I did uh, defeat this opponent. I'm just not sure why this time it decided it wanted to be different and completely change how this worked out. So I'm not really sure what's going on, because this isn't an expired gameplay. We'll even run it through just like one more time just to make sure. But I'll even put up here on to show my combat record that I beat him. So I'm just a little bit lost. We'll give this one more shot here. Yeah, that's very awkward. I don't get this. Huh. Oh, wait a minute. I just remembered. He surrendered. And I have no idea why. If he didn't surrender, he would have won. He would have won the round. Yeah, because now I remember he actually, I think after he saw me take his tower and just start surrounding him, he was like, nah, I'm done, and just surrendered. And then that's why this round just kept going and he won. So, yeah, also a lesson for you people. Don't surrender. Because you never know what's going to happen. Even if you lose this back tower from a flank, just keep an eye out to see what the round does, because you could just pull it around. Like anyone else who's played Magic or any kind of card game, Always give yourself that last draw to see what that card's going to be, because it could just be the one thing that you need to win the game. And like right here, he decided to surrender right after his tower was taken. And in the end, he would have actually come out on top, and I would have had to fight back again. And he was actually starting to make a comeback. Then he could have picked up barrier on the next round, and that would have put him in an even better situation. But again, he was definitely doing some weird stuff and not really following the same pattern. He also decided, like before, grab a Vulcan. We can find that round 3. So it was on round 4 here. Our opponent picked up a Vulcan on the previous round and spent 600 resources over here. The round before, when we got the unit drop, he got the Sabretooth, but he decided to use it, when instead he could have just put it up here in the front as a good tank unit. Or if anything, sold this, had a fortress. He would have already had one fortress, and he could have gotten a second one right here. And that would have been round 4. Maybe even round 2, depending on when he got the unit drop. So, but yeah, all in all, he just decided to give up when he could have totally turned this game around. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and like and subscribe. If you want to come over and see some live Mechabellum, I'm over on Twitch at twitch.tv/fab4200. And I hope you have a wonderful day.